I think that was the 8 numbers. Bring, bring.
Thank you for calling the CreativeKrunch podcast.
Hi, is this Reed?
Yes, it is.
Hey, what are you doing?
I just sat down for some dinner.
Hey, what'd you order? Are you eating? It sounds like you're eating.
Yes. Yummy.
So, yum, dude. Yeah, so I'm actually talking on that voice book thing. You know, the Max Johnson?
Yeah, are you talking about the Max Johnson from...
The Center Stage Production Johnson.
Because he's Max about his life, so...
Yeah. I mean, realistically, though, Max is like... Oh, you know, like up there.
Yeah, he's Max. He's maxed out.
Maxed out. All right, man. We'll see you later, dude.
Yep, okay, bye-bye.
Well, anyway, welcome back to the CreativeKrunch podcast. As you see, if you're viewing on YouTube, we are in person, and we have a very special guest, which I will let Ben introduce again, I guess.
Well, yeah, since we've already pre-recorded it. So this is Max Johnson. He's a DJ, Center Stage Productions here in Cedar Rapids. And I'll let you, I don't want to give away too much. I'll let you do more of the talking.
That's it. That's all.
That's it. All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.
We'll see you guys later.
All right, and we can actually, if you want to move it forward just a little bit, just there we go. Just so it doesn't peak too much. I just see on the thing earlier it was kind of loud.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and maybe your favorite childhood memory.
Oh boy. So like Ben said, my name's Max. I'm with Center Stage Productions, DJ here out of Cedar Rapids. Been a DJ for about 10 years now,
Nice.
in some capacity or another. But yeah, been kind of a interesting ride here the last couple of years, and the whole thing is in and of itself. So fun job. I always tell people I got the coolest job in the world. I get paid to help celebrate and party and listen to music, and
Yeah.
That's true.
it's a pretty good gig. Can't complain about it. So
Yeah.
Favorite childhood memory, boy.
It's just so out of left field.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Oh man, I don't know. So like looking back at it now, I'm glad I was a kid back when I was, as opposed to now, because we didn't have any of the computers and that kind of stuff. So it was always about out running and playing ball and, with the neighborhood kids and waiting for mom and dad to yell through the neighborhood and,
Yeah.
hey, come home. No, we're playing ball. We're riding bikes or whatever.
Or fifth inning.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't come home until you have a broken arm.
That reminds me, when we were younger on our street, we had each house was specified for specific outdoor activities. So like this one house was like wiffle ball.
Mm-hmm.
This other person's house was made for basketball. So like if we were all of a sudden in this whole basketball mood for, like we went through swings, we were like, you know what, let's play basketball every day. And after like 3 months of doing that, then we'd be like, you know what, let's go play wiffle ball. And then we'd go to this other person's house because they had like their setup for their backyard was better for wiffle ball. Or maybe the other person had like actual painted lines on their driveway. Yeah.
That's funny you say that. I was the same way. So I had a friend, neighbor, a couple of houses down that had like a skateboard ramp, like a half pipe in their backyard.
How did they do that?
I don't know. I think their dad, it was like super crafty. So they built it for him. So obviously that was the skateboard house, right? And then we had like a baseball
skateboard house.
Yeah. We go there to skateboard. Obviously they have the ramps and stuff. But yeah, we had a neighbor that was like kickball, baseball, all that stuff. But yeah, I could not imagine like growing up with all that technology or stuff either. Like, I feel like that's where I got my creativity and my imagination is like playing in the sandbox and
really
sticks and rocks. That's all you got.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird to think about. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, poor kids. If there's any kids watching, go outside.
Go outside and play.
Yeah.
Go ride your bike. Go get into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully your neighbors don't say anything.
Yeah. Make some memories.
So you said 10 years you've been in this business as a DJ. But how long has Center Stage Productions been around versus whatever else you did?
So I think it was after the first couple of events that we did. Because I started it with a friend of mine. My best friend has been my best friend for almost 30 years now, which is crazy to say. One of the neighborhood kids that we always play ball and ride bikes and stuff with. And after we started getting a little bit of traction for it, we're like, we may want to come up with something, as far as marketing wise, got to have a name. You can't just be like, oh, it's Max and Ryan and hey, call these guys.
Yeah.
So that's when it started. So it was very early on. It was one of those things that's the toughest part of this that I don't think anybody really talks about is coming up with a name for what it is you're doing,
I think we've had like 17 different names for the CreativeKrunch podcast.
Yeah. Crispy Creative.
Yeah, Creative Citrus. Just we had to get through all the bad ones to get our semi-okay one. But yeah.
But once you decide on something and you just you go for it and you're confident about it, nobody's going to question it, And that was kind of the same idea is, well, is that the right names? We'll stick with it. We'll just run with it.
So it's always been Center Stage Productions. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like that.
Cool.
So for 10 years, that's what it's been.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. So you didn't I know Eric, he had worked for a different photography business, stuff like that. But this Center Stage Production,
always,
all from the beginning. That's pretty cool.
It's always been, and it's always been just the two of us at the beginning. And then I want to say it was 2016. What year did you got married in 16, right?
Yep, 16.
So it would have been, I think, shortly before you guys got married, that Ryan decided to back out, just family commitments and work commitments, because he's full-time job, as we both were working at the same time.
Right.
He had a family at the time, and he's like, hey, I can't juggle all of this, which I get it. There's a lot of meetings, as you guys know, that go into planning this kind of stuff. And it's like, cool, I'll give it 1 year.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. And if it blows up, great. If not, well, then we'll hang up the speakers and we'll have a really killer garage system. And it took off. And
that's awesome.
So, here I am, 5 or 6 years later, that
doing it full time.
It's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
When did you go full time?
It would have been at the tail end of, I think, 15 or 16, whenever you back full time would have been, let's see. I decided to go legitimately make it my full-time job in July 1st of 2019. I finally told my corporate guy, I don't want to play no more. I'm going to go for it. And then we all know, of course, what happened in 2020. So it was perfect timing to go out on that limb. But
I think both of us went full time in 2020 too. Yeah. Or 2020 as well. This year.
I think it says something though if you can make it through that.
It was so cool. And it was scary. It's scary to go full time as it is. I mean, I'm sure you guys kind of had that. Well, do you do it? Do you not do it? Do you And when that all came about, it was like, okay, well, how long is it gonna last?
Yeah.
And we were talking with some other vendor friends and industry people that. We were taking bets essentially. Okay, when do you think it's going to be? And we're like, oh, it's going to be over in May or June. And here we are, 2 years later or whatever, and still dealing with it.
Yeah.
But we're able to get back to work, at least on a part-time basis with weddings and stuff. Tail end of 20, which was nice, and was able to backlog it enough to make it go.
So in 2020, in the midst of all of it, I think a lot of couples shifted towards micro weddings, kind of yard weddings or anything. Did you get kind of any business with that smaller scene? Or
no, I mean, not really, not for the backyard type of stuff. There were people that pushed later on in the year and then trimmed down their guest list just so they could do it.
Gotcha.
As opposed to totally rescheduling. I have plenty of those as well. But 50, 60, 70 people. But at that time, people were also really leery of being out in public and being in those large crowds for good reason. I mean, I get it. So it was a different year, and then you had some couples that still had 150 or 200 people. And it was Okay, cool.
Yeah,
You know,
some
we'll go either
people
way.
were like, we don't care, and then the other people like really did. I think 2020 was probably half and half, with like very strict on like, hey, everyone's wearing a mask, other stuff,
Yeah.
and then the other half is like just right up on, like just dancing, partying
Yep.
up like nothing. But yeah, 2020 was interesting.
And that's one of those things that, you know, and especially in 2020, that the venues were making their own rules a lot of times. You know, everybody put it in their hands, said, hey, if you want to mandate masks, it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ones that were mandating masks or saying, or really strongly encouraging it, it's like, how do you get 50 people that have been drinking all day and now want to party and dance? How do you get them to wear a mask and to separate?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Tough.
You know?
Yeah, tough.
And so I was like, well, we'll just, you guys take care of that side of it. I'll play the music and we'll just kind of all
Go from there.
co-collaborate there on that. So.
Awesome. No, cool. You want to go to the next question then? I know where we were.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, so I guess the question is, did you always want to be a DJ? But I kind of want to rephrase that to like, how, like growing up, what made you decide like you wanted to get into this kind of industry? I don't know if you.
Honestly, it was, the DJ thing was never at the forefront of my mind ever.
Kind of random.
It was one of those things that we fell into.
Mm-hmm.
Very honestly, it was one of those just like dumb luck, right place, right time, and it worked. So leading up to it, so like back when I was a kid, music's always been a huge part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so always riding in the car with mom and dad, it was this name that tune kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
So music would be on the radio and what's the name of the
interesting.
song? And so that I think kind of planted the seed.
That's cool.
And just kind of grew. It was always there, right? And then leading up to heading into Center Stage Productions and that forming and taking place, myself and Ryan, the guy that helped me launch with Center Stage Productions, we were in a band together with a couple other friends.
Oh, cool.
And we played around a little bit. You know, it was more of a, let's do it for fun.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a chance to play in front of people, which was pretty cool. You know, it kind of got a little bit of that thrill of being in front of people and playing music and that kind of stuff. And so when that fell apart or on its way out, we had a mutual friend of ours who was getting married on a tight budget. And I want to say the bride was 6 months pregnant or something at the time.
Wow.
It was one of those kind of deals. And he's like, can you DJ our wedding? We're like, well, we have speakers. We know how to make sound come out of them, and we know how the lights will go. So, sure, hold your expectations in check, but we can definitely play music for you.
Yeah.
And it went well. And it was a tag team effort where he made it all look and sound good. And I was more like the emceeing part of it and like more the business side of it at that point. And it went.
That's awesome.
And we got people to call us, like just word of mouth. And it was like, okay,
There's something here.
there
Yeah.
might be something here to it. And so in that time, the band kind of just went by the wayside totally,
Mhm.
you know, and we jumped onto that bandwagon, if you will, and
Yeah, that's
wrote it
awesome.
out. So
I'm curious, what instruments did you play? Because I grew up, my brother played like all guitar, bass, drums, and I picked it up from him too. So I was just, as a musician myself, I was curious.
I played guitar.
Guitar.
And it was, again, one of those just dumb luck things on a whim. It started, coincidentally enough, with Rock Band or Guitar Hero, the
That's
video
awesome.
games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what started the whole guitar thing. And then I don't remember what year it was, but shortly after that game had come out, I got a guitar for Christmas one year. I'm like, all right, let's try it. It can't be that difficult.
Right.
Guitar Hero was easy.
You've got the
Nailed it.
practice. Yeah.
Get a real one in your hands. It's like, no. It's not quite as easy as they make it look.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting laid off from a corporate job, and I was out of work for 5-6 months or whatever it was. And so it was like, okay, well, I can't go out spending money, because there's no income there. I'm like, all right, let's get on Google and YouTube and let me teach myself how to play guitar. And so that's what I did for those 6 months, was just kind of playing around with it. And
That's awesome.
it
That's
worked.
cool.
And then, a couple other buddies were like, well, that's pretty cool. Can you teach me how to play? I'm like,
Sure.
I don't know what I'm doing, but sure, we can definitely This is an A chord. This is an E chord. Good luck. Hope it works
Yeah,
out.
that's awesome. I love hearing those stories about like kind of how it formed into what it is. So yeah, super cool.
Definitely been an interesting ride.
Yeah.
And with no real plan at those points of anything, and it just kind of formed. And it's like you said, with those swings in the neighborhood. Okay, today we're gonna go play wiffle ball, and then next week, I'm gonna be a DJ, and next week, who knows? So,
Your tag could be like from rock band to DJ,
from PlayStation to your wedding day.
Yeah,
Guitar Hero to
that'd be fun.
Anybody can do it.
There's that game now, the DJ Hero. Have you seen that?
I've seen that. So my boys for Christmas, they just got, my mom found it for them. Remember the movie Big?
Yeah.
Okay, where the big piano where they were walking on.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got that, but it's also got like a DJ mixer in it as well. So we
that's
had
cool.
that going for a while.
That's cool.
It's like, okay, batteries can be out of that anytime now.
I can imagine that'd be loud and wild all the time. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so now that we know a little bit about your history, let's talk more about your job. All right, so what's a common myth about your job?
Common myth about my job. So I honestly think that most people don't realize what all goes into being a premium DJ. And I guess that's how I build myself on that. Most people, I think, just say, oh, well, they play music, push play, and that's the end of it. Well, that's a part of that, but it's also who's running your day, who's taking charge of all of that, who's making sure that everybody's where they need to be, and I don't think a lot of couples understand or realize, I guess you don't know what you don't know, that stuff doesn't just happen magically.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to push it and make it go and keep all of the cats corralled, if you will, make sure that everybody's where they want to be and where they need to be when they need to be there.
Yeah. So when you're selling yourself to a couple that wants to book you, and if they basically, like, what's your sales pitch to them where they're like, okay, like, why should we spend the money on center stage?
And a lot of it that's part of it,
mm-hmm.
is that cooperation. And I also tell them that it's cooperation between your photographers, your photographers, and your videographers. Tom knows when we have videographers. Your videographers, cinematographers, photographers, caterers, venue people, all that. It's making sure that we've got that coordination between all of you and reaching out and trying to get you guys the best opportunities to get the shots that you need, letting you know, hey, we're going to do the introductions and not just going, oh, by the way, we did introductions 15 minutes ago. You guys missed it.
Yeah.
Get your lighting right. Get your lenses right. We're going to be going.
Yeah.
And I think people really appreciate that everybody's on the same page. We're a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether or not you like that other vendor that you're working with, and thankfully, I've always had really good vendors that I've been able to work with. But we're a team, and our job is to make sure that you guys are able to put out the quality product at the end of the day for that couple, because cinematography is expensive, especially good ones. They're expensive. Photographers, it's very expensive stuff, and you get one chance to do it, and you screw it up. You can't recreate those moments. It's in the moment stuff, and you have to do it right the first time. And hopefully you guys are able to capture it. And, you're not out flying the drone, or Ben's not out flying the drone, and you're
just scrambling. He does listen. He does watch the podcast.
I tell you, listen, I'm cracking up laughing. I'm sitting there on the couch or whatever, and I'm just literally laughing out loud at some of the stuff.
The funniest part about it is we actually got it on video of
the
Reed
drone
running with tripods.
There's a shot of the drone just topped out of me, like with both podcasts.
You're like looking for me. You're like, where's
I was. It got done, and that's the thing. It was a backyard wedding, so it was super small. There wasn't even a DJ or anything, so that was just bad communication on. I want to say it's our fault, but it is your fault.
To be fair, though, we told them don't start until we give the heads up, and they started.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring this back. We're done.
We can talk about this for the whole. If you really want to get into it, we have a guest.
Wait till he leaves.
Yeah.
And then you guys can duke it out.
That's funny that you brought that up, though.
So what are some common questions that when couples do inquire with you, like what for us, I feel like a common question is like, how many hours are you there? How long is the film going to be?
Mhm.
So there's some like common questions that people ask you.
Sure. So how many hours is one that I get a lot. Do you have lighting? Do you MC? Do we pick the music? All legitimate questions. Like as far as hours goes, I do that a little bit differently than a lot of DJs. I don't just have a set number of hours. I'm going to be there regardless. One of the things I like to tell them is, look, when your wedding is done, we're looking at 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning, perhaps. What I'm going to do to go to Casey's. I mean, the hospital and Casey's is about the only things that are open at that point. And that's not the most Iowa answer that you can give somebody, but I don't have anything else planned. Right. I'm not going to be like, well, it's 10 o'clock. You've hit your 5 hours. See you later. You know?
Right.
So whether it be ceremony, receptions, all of that kind of stuff, I'll take care of it. You don't have to worry about hiring somebody else to do it. Lighting, of course, that's always a big one. People want to know about uplighting, kind of explaining the difference and what those things are, how it operates, how it works, how I can help photo teams and the video teams with the lighting instead of being, crazy with colors all over the place. Time and place for everything,
Right.
We don't want dots for your first dance, which I'm sure you guys appreciate on the post-production side of things. But explaining to them what a good MC should be doing and letting people know what's going on and what's coming up, and not just, did they cut the cake? Are we cutting the cake soon?
Yeah, what's going on?
Is the first dance coming? Those kind of things.
Yeah, that's obviously we appreciate when we get to work with people like that, because I wouldn't say a lot of the time, but there are a handful of times where you're like, what is going on? I've had examples of like speeches starting when I'm in the back eating and like, just.
And that's a very simple thing that, whoever's running the day, whether it be a day of coordinator or it should, as far as I'm concerned, should be your DJ, because ultimately they're the ones that are unmuting the microphones. They're the ones that are hitting the cues with the music. They should be running that day and should be pointing those things out to everybody. Yeah, making sure that, mom and dad know what's going on. You don't want to have your first dance and mom and dad are in the bathroom. Right. Now they've missed it. It's over. You can't have that kind of stuff. Make sure everybody knows what's going on, what's coming up.
Do you have any like crazy stories from like a wedding that just, maybe not necessarily everything went wrong, but just like, if you think of just an example, like a good wedding story from DJing, what?
A couple of them come to mind. One, so it was a long time ago, many, many years ago, 20 something getting married. And I don't remember if it was the groom or if it was one of the groomsmen, but grandma was getting kind of a lap dance from a shirtless groomsman or groom. I don't remember what that one was. So that one always sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. That kind of story.
I had another one where they wanted to do a $1 dash instead of a $1 dance. You guys know what that is? You've seen those?
$1 dash, like where they run or.
Yep. So basically it's bridesmaids versus groomsmen, and you 2 or 3 minutes or whatever the time they want to set, and they go out and grab cash from the guest instead of.
It's probably a lot faster than a $1 dance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit more intense and a little bit more fast paced than just
probably more fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
20 minutes and making it awkward with Uncle Charlie, who creeps just a little longer than he should.
Yeah.
But it came down to I feel like it was really close, and all of a sudden I look up and there's the groom in front of me. He has his pants down, like he's standing there in his underwear and on the dance floor. Somebody offered him $100 bill for the $1 dash, and they said, "Drop trow, you get it." And he did, and it was like, oh, all right, this is the kind of thing that we're doing.
Yeah, see some interesting stuff, especially later in the wedding day.
And then, like the most recent one that really sticks out, it was over in Galena, just rager from beginning to end. Like, it was 250, 300 people all night long, like liquors flying in the air and throwing beer, and it was just like, this is intense, but it was everything as a DJ that you want every single wedding to be. And as far as like video and photo teams, I'm sure like so many different things you guys could have captured and that those teams did capture for that day, that it was just like perfect, picture perfect everything at that time. So
yeah, we love a good wild wedding party. I feel like it's very common though. Every bride I ever talked to is like, oh, we're gonna have the most wild rager party at the end of it. Then you get there, and there's like 4 people on the dance floor.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of that. I mean, some of that's to do with the DJ too. Like, how do you incorporate and engage with the audience? Yeah.
It is a little bit, and there are certain things. So, like, if you have outside bags going on, or you have a patio where you have a smoking bar or cigar bar, I guess they call it, I can't compete with that. There's nothing that I'm going to do that's going to bring people in from outside.
Right.
It's just the way it is, especially if it's a nice night in the middle of June or September or October.
Right.
There's nothing I can do. But if you keep everybody inside, and the main thing is get your bride and groom out on the dance floor, because people naturally are going to follow,
of course,
wherever they're at. So if
they should just
make
they should just make a DJ booth that comes with a bar, so that they have to come up to the DJ booth to get their drinks, and then they're just already on the dance floor.
Cut this, because that's a good idea. We don't want someone else to have that idea.
Let's get
They
together.
start
And
including
Pat,
it's an add-on. We include the bar too. So.
well, and you've seen my new booth, or new-ish booth, I guess now. But yeah, we just put like a speed rail on the side of that, and just liquor bottles right there, and go for it.
That's
No
literally.
need to go announce all night. No need to go to the bar. Come up here and get your drinks.
We've got everything you need.
Get your song request, grab your drinks, just keep it away from the computers, and you'll be good.
No, it's definitely a huge problem though that I see at some venues. They'll have outdoor bars or outdoor activities.
Yep.
That either people want to go out there to socialize, or I don't know.
And it's tough. And I don't know about the other guys, but when those kinds of things happen, I feel terrible, because it's like, look, I know what people are paying me, and I feel very much obligated to perform on that.
Right.
Make sure that people feel like they got a good deal on it. And if there's just not a lot of people that are dancing or out there for whatever reason, I just get this like feeling that, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
But if people are singing and dancing at their tables, they're just not coming out to the dance floor. We're on the right track.
Yeah, you get somewhere.
They're just not a dancing group, which I totally relate to. I'm not a dancer. If I'm at a wedding, I'm not that guy out there. No way.
Not even you're not tapping your foot or anything.
I'll be at the table with a drink. That just, and that always, I think,
crazy.
People that are like, well, you're a DJ, you should be out there. And that's why I push the buttons, because no.
You're not on the table, just like leading the.
If that ever happens, it's going to be bad.
There's a
next couple of days.
There's a couple DJs I book with that start dancing. They really get into it, but.
And now we're back from our sponsor.
Yeah. Anchor, yeah, they're a good sponsor.
Yeah,
we've made a total of like $3.70 or something like that. So we keep joking. Hey, should we cash out now?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's like a max limit on it of like 15.
I was looking into it. I think once you hit 15, then it's like, okay, your next is like $75.
You get another. No, okay.
You get like a new refund or something. But it's like, we're only going to give you $15 and see if you can get to that first.
Yeah. So if you were expecting payment for being a guest, we can throw you like 25 cents. That's can't wait to do taxes on that $3.
Well, what percentage do they take before they give you your $3?
See, I'm not going to cash out until I know it's worth something.
$10. Then we could split it 5-5. Good.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. So
podcast is worth it in all the editing.
Yeah.
Here's your $5 for your 25 hours.
Okay, so what makes you unique in your field?
I think it's really just kind of like the attention that I put towards my couples. So basically, I feel like that I'm accessible to them all the time. If they have any problems, any issues leading up to it, just an email away, which I know a lot of people do, but I don't know about if you've realized it, but I'm pretty quick on the draw with coming back with emails and text messages. Like, does this guy have nothing better to do but sit there with
I FaceTimed him yesterday asking like for details for this. He's like, oh, I'll just, because we said let's switch it to noon. He's like, I'm gonna text him right now and he'll hit me back immediately. Sure enough. So that's funny you bring that up, because I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's one of those things that it's like, if I just take care of it now, I don't have to worry about forgetting it.
I'm trying to work on that.
I need to learn that. Yeah.
But I'm one of those people that can't have notifications on my phone either. Like I have notification. I gotta clear them because I just can't do it. Just can't do it. But really paying attention to the couples and the families, because you're not only working with the couple. Yes, you're signing your contracts with the couple, and you're ultimately being most of the time paid by your couples. There's a whole family that's involved with it. You got moms and dads and grandparents and all of that. So checking in on them throughout the day. Hey, are you guys doing okay? Is there anything that you need? Is there any questions? Is there anything I can get for you? Anything like that?
No.
Making sure that they've got everything they need, and just assuring them, hey, look, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy your day. You let me and your other vendors take care of it. You hire the right people. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Enjoy that experience. Be in the moment, because again, you're not going to be able to look back. That's why you're hiring photo. That's why you're hiring video. They're going to capture all of that stuff for you during the day. So now you can just level, breathe a little bit, and you can look back on it after the fact when you guys get those videos back and the photos back, and check it all out.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably a lot of either brides or even like brides' moms that are just like so tense and stressed throughout the day. And I get it. Like, it's a huge day. You want to make sure everything goes well, but it's like, just try, like you said, trust in your vendors, trust in who you hired. They'll take care of you. And then, you'll have a great party at night, and then you'll be able to look back at your photos and video later and be like, I'm glad that, I was relaxed. Otherwise, like for us in photos and videos, like that shows up. You can tell when someone's tense and stressed and stuff. So, totally. Not
just the face of, go snap a picture and then there. But I think a lot of it leads up to the day of the wedding too. Hey, look, this is what you can expect. This is how things are going to go, or this is at least our game plan for how things are going to go. There's always going to be something that wasn't in our playbook, but we're just going to roll with it. We're going to take care of it. You just sit back, get your hair done, get the dress on,
take it all in, take in what's happening.
Take a breath. We'll take care of you.
Yeah. No, I think you also have some impact on the day that is kind of unique. I mean, you care about a lot about the vendors. You're not just in it for yourself. The way you present yourself, like the way you set up your lights and speakers. Not too often do I see people setting speakers around like an entire venue, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, I hear that from venues, which to me sounds strange. Why would you not make it where everybody in the room can hear what's going on, as opposed to just the first 50 people?
I've actually
maybe explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I've never worked with you, obviously. I know you guys have worked with each other a handful of times, but I've actually never had a DJ do that. Like, it's always just like,
it's crazy to me.
Sometimes, they do the 2 at the dance floor and then maybe 2 like out towards everyone, but never,
Okay, so for like the bigger rooms, obviously you want the big, what I call the heavy lifters that are doing the majority of the work up by the dance floor, because that's where you want the majority of your sound at that time of night.
Of course.
But as far as speeches and those kind of things goes, you want to do everything you can so everybody can hear in the room what those toasts are, what those announcements are. Hey, we're doing the toast in 5 minutes. Make sure you have your drinks ready. Everybody should hear that, not just the first 15, 20, 25 people. So what I'll do is I'll put a couple of speakers, depending on the size of the room and how it's configured and all of that, but a couple speakers up front for the dance floor, and then I'll set up satellite speakers around the room. So my goal every time is to be able to walk through that room and you not be able to hear or be able to figure out where that sound's coming from. So you should be able to walk through it, be able to hear it from this side, hear it from this side, and it be even all the way across. Now there's, some venues that it's not entirely possible to get it perfectly even, but we're at least making the effort to even that out and give everybody opportunity to hear what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that a huge thing that can help with is when people are giving speeches, the people that are in the back are probably talking. And so when people back there can also hear it, then they stop talking.
They're more engaged.
Yeah, right. And I see that at a lot of weddings where there's just people talking.
Yes, that drives me nuts. It's like, can you not focus for 10 minutes, give up, or football games and that kind of, put the phone away for the 15 minutes of whatever it is that we're doing. Be in the moment for these people.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice when like toasts are 15 minutes and not when dad gets up there and talks for half an hour. then I understand if the talking in the background happens. But
and the open mics, those are always fun. That just drag on.
Just
for
keeps
a
going
bit.
down the wedding party, and then no, but that's cool. I hopefully we work together one day so I can experience that, because that sounds.
No, it's nice. I wonder if that's though at Eric and Ashley's wedding. how it made that clicking noise. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So
I think it was maybe with the Bluetooth of my device, and I don't know if it was the connecting to the satellite speakers.
I don't. Oh, it shouldn't have had anything to do with the satellite speakers because those were run off RF packs. So I don't. Did that mic have a magnet in it?
It did.
So I'm wondering if that's not.
Because I used it before your wedding. Yours was like the 4th wedding that I used it, and it didn't do it before that. But then listening to it, I was listening to the raw audio out of my other device, not the one in there. And as soon as I was getting closer, you could hear it the click and get louder. But we couldn't hear it until
until
she
it was
started
live.
talking.
Yeah, and we tested it out just to make sure. I'm pretty sure we did. And we had no issues with it. And as soon as she started talking, it almost sounded like bicycle cards in a bicycle spoke.
Oh, really? Jeez.
And it was like, okay, what's causing it? And running around trying to, okay, we'll check the satellite speakers, make sure that those are good. Well, those are fine. Check the levels. Okay, everything's good there. And it was finally, I was like frantically pulling cables, out of my booth and reconnecting them just to try to figure out what was going on. And the last thing that was the attachment, the microphone that he had.
So it was your thing?
We put the sleeve on.
Good.
And so I haven't used it since because I was like, I don't want that happening again.
Yeah, of course.
And as soon as she, one of the mothers.
It was her mom.
Okay. So yeah, she went to go talk and all of a sudden it started. I'm like, okay, do we stop in the speech?
She was like in a very emotional part of speech. And I was like, we can't just cut it right now.
Yeah. So it's like, well, let's just write it out, figure it out before the next one starts. And and her speech wasn't that long.
Yeah.
But it was excruciating long.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that, you talk to couples about. There are things that are going to happen, and you got to roll with the punches and figure it out as we go.
It's technology, you never know.
Yeah, one thing too, you'll see Max during like toasts and stuff. You got your iPad, you're kind of walking around in back, and you're like checking levels. And so I don't know what you're doing. I'm just assuming you're like.
I'm playing Flappy Bird or whatever, Angry Bird. What is it called? I don't even know.
I think
I don't know. I've never played it.
I think they're both a game, but Angry Birds is the.
But no, so I got.
That would be a really funny ad for your business.
That would be
just
fun.
like you checking levels, and then you like reveal that you're just playing Angry Birds.
Hey Ben, you want to film another TikTok? But no, but you're absolutely right. I've got an iPad, and that's one of those things that way back when Ryan and I were together doing it, he was like, I want this, because he was doing the sound for me. I didn't have to worry about it because he knew how to configure it. And that was one of those things that when I went out on my own, like, oh crap, I got to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
I got to learn how to run the lights and make those go and be able to do all of it all at once, because I never had to do it before.
Right. You're a team before. Yeah.
But yeah, so we got an iPad and I can go out and I can check the levels out where the guests hear it, because it sounds totally different back where I'm posted up. Yeah. So I can go out in front of the speakers, check it out, adjust it. And so when I'm dismissing tables and that kind of stuff, I carry it with me, and if songs are mixed differently, I can do it right there on the fly. And people are like, what are you doing?
Wow, that's nice. That's cool.
I'm playing Angry Birds.
Yeah, but Angry Birds.
It's for honor.
You also have like, I don't know, I remember you have like colors or something for your microphones to determine which ones you're using or something.
So my mics are, I don't want to say color coordinated, but they're marked and tagged essentially. So I know, if I've got multiple mics out there, multiple wireless mics out there running, I can see which one I need to adjust, because it's all color coordinated to what my soundboard is.
Like orange.
That's really
so you can
smart.
make just orange or whatever.
Yep.
That's really smart. That's cool. Yeah.
And I feel like you're always ready for backup. You always have like, if something happened to one microphone, you have like another microphone that's ready to go immediately.
Pretty much, yeah, and it's happened, unfortunately, and both times have been ceremonies. The first time was at the beginning of a ceremony. Sound checked it, everything was perfect. I'm happy with it. Life is good. Everybody walks up. The head holy guy goes to start talking, and we have nothing. And I'm like, this is not good.
Not
so
ideal.
Like, okay, we'll go swap it out with the mic, and fine, it worked. And then the second time it had happened was down at Rapid Creek, down in that little amphitheater bowl,
That's
whatever you
pretty
want to call
far,
it.
yeah.
And, you know, everything's set up right there, but we were going. Life was good. And he gets to the middle of the prayer and the mic cuts. I have no idea why. I've never figured it out to this day why it cut, but it cut. And we had nothing. So everybody's got their heads bowed and they're praying. And so I just kind of sneak up there, swap the mic. Nobody knew anything was out because nobody saw it.
Yeah.
And big time props to the officiant on that. It was actually Eric and Ashley's officiant. He knew what I was doing. So he was up there, he's doing his prayer and he sticks his hand out like this to the side of him. So I just
was that that?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't even
No,
realize.
it wasn't at Eric and Ashley's, but it was the same
was the
guy.
same.
Okay.
And so he
That's
just
smart.
stuck his hand out like this, like just a baton pass in track and field.
There you
And
go.
swapped it out. He grabbed the mic and
That's pretty
we were
smart.
off and running again.
That's
So-
awesome.
But yeah, it's an excruciating 15, 30 seconds or whatever it is ends up being. But those things can happen.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's technology, it's electronics. You know, we do all of our tests
Mm-hmm.
and sound checks and all of that. But in the moment, you're in the moment and
You can
you
just
do
decide
what
not-
you got to do.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome that you're always prepared. I feel like I'd say we're kind of prepared. We have multiple cameras, but if I don't know, if I was shooting and like my lens just broke, I'd probably just be like,
cry.
See ya. But no, just kidding. If any of my future couples, I got you. We're
No,
good.
I will say, and I'm sure you guys will attest to it. Things happening are rare. It's
Mhm.
very rare that those things actually do happen. But when they do, it seems to be at the most inopportune times
Always.
when it happens. So again, it's just making a plan for what if, and I'm super paranoid about that. You
Mhm.
know, I arrive to venues like 4, 5, 6 hours ahead of time
Just
because I'm paranoid that something's not going to go
Yeah.
right and gives me a chance to
Take
fix
extra
it
time
and
to- yep,
or
yep.
flat tires and you know all of that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So
yeah.
I've got this paranoia about that stuff. It's weird.
I feel that way, like before a wedding, just making sure I have all my gear and hopefully it's all working. Or I always driving to the wedding. I'm like, did I charge my batteries?
Yeah.
Yep, I do the same thing. Check my bag. Okay, I got both laptops. I got my iPads. Okay, do I got my projector? Yep, projector's good. Okay, do we have this? Do I have my batteries? Okay, yep, okay. I get to the venue. Okay, do I have my bag? Do I
Yeah,
have my
exactly.
computer? You know,
Triple, quadruple check everything.
man.
And then there's Ben just throws everything in a bag
Yeah,
unorganized. I think I got everything.
Good.
One of my things is charged. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's your. It's like I'll figure it out. I'll shoot the whole thing hand holding the drone if I have to.
Making the airplane noises as you go.
luckily, I don't think I've had any major issues at weddings other than the one at Eric and Ashley's. I feel like that one really threw me for a loop because I figured, oh yeah, people had recommended this device to me multiple times. They're like, this is the best one. Usually it worked great, and then as soon as we got to Eric and Ashley's wedding,
And I don't know, again, if it was just the mic that I was using for that, which I feel like I use for really standard mics, you know, nothing
yeah,
super special or anything, but
Yeah.
or just the right set of environment.
Just
And
ran. Yeah.
Who knows? It's just one of those things that, and like I said, we couldn't stop the speech. That's
Yeah. No.
the height of it. I'm like,
I think that's important to know too. Like they're capturing and performing at a live event, so like stuff's gonna happen. We can't
Right.
help it.
The way it happens is the way it happens. That's the way we're gonna capture it. That
We're gonna do our best to be perfect at what we do, but sometimes that doesn't always work that way.
Mhm.
And there are things, especially like that clicking noise, we couldn't hide from it. There was nothing we could do to
Yeah.
sugarcoat it. It's face value. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's live.
Yeah.
Got to roll with it. Figure it out as it comes. Yeah. Exactly.
Luckily, we figured it out early
Yeah.
because they still had a bunch of other speeches, and
I
luckily,
think she was the first one.
yeah,
she
she
was
was
the
the
very
first
first
one.
speech.
Oh,
Luckily,
that's
the
good.
audio on my device, I think, sounded better than what it came out on your device.
Yep.
Because mine didn't have the actual clicking. You could just kind of hear it in the
It was
background. a
real
little bit.
faint. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
ended up getting the audio from Ben
Oh.
to dump onto. So I record like ceremonies, receptions, speeches, all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff for
Yeah.
my couples, and then I'll put it on CD or whatever for them after the fact.
So if you ever work with him and you fail, like one of your devices fails, reach out to Max. He usually
I've got
gets
the
audio.
recordings.
Well, it makes me nervous now because his failed and he needed yours.
Yeah.
just
Just
kidding.
don't
No,
use that
I still
device.
had it.
Yeah,
but
just-
it had that.
his sounded
and,
better.
You know, and it was like, well,
Was it the Sony recorder like on the mic sleeve that you?
It's Instamic, the magnetic little.
I thought that
tiny-
was the thing that caused the problem.
That's what caused the problem.
Yeah. There's the little magnetic
The
thing.
tiny little instant mic thing.
Okay. But it sounded better because you couldn't hear the click from it.
Yeah, because the clicking wasn't going on the device; it was going to the speaker, so you could just kind of hear it and the echoing
coming
but
through. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was interesting. And
First time I ever had that happen.
yeah.
So it was weird.
At least it happened with like a DJ and you're friends
Yeah.
with.
Right.
I just remember Max was like, Ben, I think it's your device. I was like, oh no.
I better
Because it was like in the middle of a great speech and I didn't want to stop it, and so we had to wait until she got done. But then we removed it quick and fixed it, luckily.
It's funny that you say that. Well, good thing it was somebody you knew. I get a lot of video, so if it's a video team that I've never worked with, I try to make the habit of calling them like the Wednesday before an event.
Yeah.
Say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Looking forward to working with you. What do you need to capture audio? Do you do your own thing? Do you want to tap into my system?
Mm-hmm.
If so, great. What do you need for cables? This is what I can offer for you. I record everything, so if you want it, feel free to take it.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you. And I get some video guys who are like, oh, you actually allow us to do that? There's a lot of people, DJs that won't do it. I'm like, what? Like, why wouldn't you? But
yeah, I've run into a couple where they'll only let me put the thing on the mic. Like we have a Sony recorder that just is like a microphone, records straight internally, and sometimes it's like all they want. They're like, nah, don't plug in or anything. So that's the only option. Not all of them. Most of them are very much like, yeah, use what you need. But there's a handful where it's like kind of like, don't touch my equipment kind of thing. But
you're not gonna hurt it. You're professionals.
Yeah.
You know what this stuff is. And how it works.
If you gave me time, I could probably mess with it.
There are a few times that I feel like sometimes I show up, and I don't know if it's their first wedding, or I know some of them definitely isn't their first wedding. But sometimes I show up and I feel like I'll be like, hey, do you guys, and I'll message them beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I show up and I'll ask them again, as they like never responded to me or never, but I'll be like, so do you care? Can I plug into this receiver here? And they're like, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, yeah.
Well, if I didn't, I wouldn't have asked you about it.
I'm more like, do you care if are you going to be using that output? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. And they usually act very concerned, like it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. But I'm like, no, this is.
Stay in your lane.
I think also like video, I think that's, I wouldn't say it's relatively like a new thing, but it hasn't been around that long. Like, DJing has been around way longer than filming weddings, like the way that we do it.
It's definitely morphed.
So it's might be just like an educational thing. Like there's probably some DJs out there that just don't work with videographers that much. Where it's like, I don't know what that does.
It's definitely becoming more common now to be getting audio and stuff, because they used to just make music over top of all the video clips.
Yeah. Or Uncle Bob's handheld recorder going up to the
They didn't care so much. They get the audio from their camera.
Right,
that
exactly.
end up on America's Funniest Home Videos.
Exactly.
Somebody slipped because they drank a little too much.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Let's keep moving. I feel like we've been on one question for a while.
Hey, that's how a podcast is. It's a conversation. You just start talking, it flows. Like you don't have to hit everything.
All right. So now that you're a full-time DJ, what is like a typical? I know you have kids. What does a typical day look like during the week?
So, like right now is kind of the dead spot in the year,
right?
As far as weddings and that kind of stuff goes, cold months. But when we start getting into where it's a little bit more consistent, not just one or two a month, typically I look at my weddings a week at a time. Basically, once it comes down to it, all the pre-planning is done. I've met with the couples the last time. We've gone over all of the song choices and what the day is going to look like. We've set our playbook. Usually Monday, I will start by reviewing all of the music, making sure that I've captured all of it, got it all collected. It's all ready to go. And then Tuesday, generally, if I have any bleed over, so if I have like back-to-backs or Sunday wedding, Monday, I'll start working on like the audio from that. Okay, now that's done. Now we start moving on to the next one. So get all the music collected, put together, so make sure we have it, all the right variations, all that good stuff. Designing the monograms is one of those things that it probably takes the longest just to get into that creative space. That's not my natural world. And so to get them where they're individualized and they're personalized to each couple that I work with, and they're not just cookie cutter. It's like it takes time to get to that spot in it. That's a tough thing for
Right.
me. Making sure that all the paperwork is set up, ready to go. I've got all of my blanks are filled in. So bridesmaids, groomsmen, what song everybody's walking down to, what's the itinerary. I usually touch base with the couples twice the week of, typically Monday and Friday, depending on what day their wedding is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions? Is there any concerns? This is what we still have to go over. This is what I still need decisions on. Making sure all the gear's ready to go. Backup batteries are charged, ready to go. Lights are charged for the battery operated lights, all that good stuff.
Nice.
So
Makes
there's a fair amount of stuff that goes into it. I know
Mhm.
it's kind of glaze over it, but I mean, it really is all the preparation stuff. So that way, when the day comes, I can
Yeah.
relax a
Yeah.
little bit, knowing
Mhm.
that all of our homework is done and we're ready to go.
So I guess you kind of just walk through your routine like through the week. I know we talked about routines a lot in the last one, but I think that kind of ties into the next question. Oh yes. Do you think, or did you have another part of that question, Ben?
I don't know. You could touch base a little bit on what I mean, we know like an average wedding day, the events, but like, what is a wedding day like as far as like the morning setting up and then like tearing down looks like?
Sure.
For you?
So I travel heavy
Mm.
compared to a lot of DJs,
Mm.
which that's just all I've ever known. So it's not anything weird to me, but there's venues and stuff I'll walk into. And usually, like I said, they're 4, 5 hours, 6 hours early sometimes, depending on the venue, where I'm going. If I have to travel, I always allot for extra time in case of, again, that paranoia coming in. So I can get loaded in. I can check the venue out, see what our best practice is going to be, what we need to do with it. But basically load all the gear in, usually, I don't know, 5, 6 trips sometimes of stuff.
Yeah.
And then just start putting it together. Stuff goes up the same every single time. It comes down the same every single time. It's set up basically the same way every single time. That way, if something feels weird, I know, okay, I skipped a step.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right. But so put the lights together, get them kind of out of the way, because then everything else basically builds around that.
Mm-hmm.
Get speakers up, get music pumping, make sure that's all connected right at least. And I always tell people they can hear me before they see me a lot of times, especially the couples that are getting ready in other parts of the building. Like, oh, yep, someone's here.
DJ's here.
We heard him. And then once we get everything kind of connected and put together, it's getting the lights to the right height. I'm really particular about some of that stuff. Like,
that's
I walk
important.
around with a measuring tape to get my lights the same height because I'm just weird like that.
Well, that stuff is more important than people think about too. Like the heights and the angles that you choose, like that's how you are who you are, right? Like that's how you sell yourself. But yeah, that's not weird.
They have to be the same height. I can't I can't do it knowingly.
Gotcha.
This one's 2 inches shorter than you. Unless because of like a slope of the building or something. But,
I mean, that stuff shows in pictures and video too. So,
but
aesthetically
it's weird.
pleasing setup, yeah.
But then, aiming the lights, so we got coverage for the dance floor. That way, when we have just our warm white for the first dances and parent dances, all the formal stuff, it's covered. And they give something for you guys to shoot with. I know a lot of times you guys bring auxiliary lights or whatever to help light some of those other spaces depending on how you shoot, but give you guys a chance to get all of those moments at the right time.
Get set up, yeah.
All that. Definitely sound checks and mic checks and all of that good stuff is ready to go.
What's your go-to like mic check?
I just wander around, honestly, because I usually will have 2 mics with me, and just a lot of times it's just test. One.
Yeah.
There's a few jokes there, but depending on who's around, you don't necessarily want to broadcast that kind of stuff out there for
who knows who's out there. Yeah.
For Grandma to hear and like, what is he saying? You hired this guy for what reason?
I said test.
But and then sound checking a few songs, different genres. Obviously the ones that have the most bass and pop music is what people typically hear throughout a wedding. But do some of the guitar songs. That Toto is one of them that I will sound check with. Hold the Line, 80 song, but it's got a little bit of everything in there, and be able to mix that in, and so it sounds you can hear all the different parts of it. And
so I just learned something new. Like with sound checking, I would never think of, I want to use a specific song because it has all these different parts to it. Like that's wild to me that you're that in depth. That's cool.
And I don't know, maybe it's just because I like the song that I play it, and it gives me an excuse to do it.
Well,
but-
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense though. Like if you're getting every instrument, every possible sound out of it, yeah.
Just to try to tweak it as just as good
Yeah.
as we can. And then, you know, people show up and everything changes.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of times when I'm doing that kind of stuff, it's all in an empty hall. And okay, it's going to sound a little bit different once you stuff 200-300 people in there. And now, but we have a good baseline.
Right.
So now we can change it as we go. And as people get in there, we can up the mics and give them a little bit more or whatever we need to do to get it out
Yeah.
over top of everybody, which again is where those auxiliary speakers come in play. So now I don't have to push the ones up close so
Mhm.
hard. We've got a nice even all the way across.
Yeah. That's cool.
Okay, so as an entrepreneur, you have to find ways to be productive and do work at home. What's your favorite productivity hack for entrepreneurs?
It's got to be like take care of things as they come up.
Mhm.
The biggest lie I tell myself is I don't need to write that down.
I gotta take notes.
Let's
I gotta take
respond.
notes
Let's
real
respond
quick.
to emails
Yeah.
right now.
I don't need to write that down. Yes, I do. In fact, need to.
I
Write that
should
down.
start writing stuff down more. Do you use like a notes app on your phone
Yeah.
or something?
Yep, and you schedule things. So,
Mhm.
like last night, I needed to send paperwork. Well, put a reminder in my phone. Okay, 10:30.
Is it just like the phone's reminder app, or is it?
Just like on the calendar or whatever.
Okay.
'Cause I'm an Android guy.
Do you use
haven't
Google
switched
Calendar?
over to the Apple thing yet, just because I'm so used to it. That's my thing.
Right. No.
I bet eventually you'll switch over.
I get a lot of flack for that. Oh, you got to do it. It syncs everything. Well, I don't really have any Apple products other than my iPad, but
Yeah, once you get one though, it starts like I think I started with an iPhone, and I got like an Apple TV. I got like an Apple Watch, and
I don't know. I think if I was going to go for an addiction, I think crystal meth would be cheaper.
Honestly. honestly,
I mean, yeah, that's true.
this podcast is not sponsored by Apple.
Nor crystal meth.
Yeah. Terrible example, but
No, but it makes sense. That stuff is so expensive. Like,
Yeah, it's
But
crazy expensive.
I will say the Apple products last a long time, and
Mhm.
I think one
I've
of the
heard
biggest
that.
selling points for me is that Apple doesn't get viruses.
Yeah.
So like they see like I still have a MacBook in that thing that I have not touched, but it works fine. Like it works fine. It's just so old that it wouldn't sell for hardly anything.
Yeah, I still have my very first MacBook too, like the one with the CD drive on the side, like the one that comes with it.
Yeah. So
Oh, before they discovered, hey, we can charge you extra for the CD drive.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I actually bought one of those CD drives too. I haven't
Ben,
used it in a while.
Didn't you actually have a TikTok that kind of blew up in the Apple community, like with your Apple Watch in the,
Yeah,
in
it
the
was an
recording
audio
one?
hack. Yeah.
You gave them free advertising. You should have reached out and like, hey,
Aspect, yeah, you owe me. Yeah, you owe me new products.
If you go viral, you know,
It's-
200 million people looking at it,
Yeah.
or you know,
Just-
or dancing to a drone footage.
That's true. I'm so bummed that one didn't go viral.
oh, the one
did?
that Eric and Ashley's at the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was fun.
It was a good one. Yeah, that was, this
so
was one of the best ever made.
He messaged me over the week of, hey, we're gonna do this dance. I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, no, you're doing it too.
With a,
Oh, yeah, I thought you weren't a dancer, Max.
yeah.
Normally I'm not, and I'm sure if you watch that video, you can definitely tell I am not that guy. But
It was fun.
It was
though.
fun.
I liked it.
it
Yeah,
was a lot of
it was a
fun.
good video. I wish more than anything I was at that wedding, but I had my own.
That was a fun one for sure.
you would have been out flying the drone when we had the clicking, and
Exactly.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
have caused absolute chaos.
It would have been like, Reed, where are you?
But no, really, it's kind of taking care of things as they come up, and you know, answering those emails and stuff just as fast as they
Mhm.
come in. And I don't know, that to me works. I know a lot of people that's not conducive to doing things
Mhm.
that way, but I just that way it's out of sight, out of mind. I know my clients or whoever has the answers for whatever it is that they need, and
Right.
we can move on past that.
I think for me,
Get a routine.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's my Adderall. I don't know if it's my ADHD, but like for me, if I start something, I like can't do anything else until I've completed that thing. So like if I'm in the middle of an edit or something and somebody emails me, I'm just like, I can't like stop. Otherwise it kills my momentum.
Yeah, especially with editing, it's just like if you're in, like we talked about it before, if you're in that flow state and yeah, if you like pull out your phone to respond, even if it's like work related,
Mhm.
it takes probably another 30 to hour to get back into where you were
now
at.
I need a drink.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what's on
And
Netflix,
we're the most distractible people on this planet. So it's bad.
I can definitely see that in those instances where you
Mhm.
guys are editing, because that's very much a zone.
Yeah,
thing,
I turn
know?
off like all notifications and stuff and just give myself a time frame. Like, okay, here, switch gears, check email, whatever. But
So do you guys have like set hours that you set for yourself? So from like 9 to 5, or is it just kind
we
of
should.
whenever
I
you get to
should.
it?
I've been. That's a new goal I'm trying to work on this year because sometimes I'm all over the place. But it kind of comes with like that motivation and that inspiration for, oh, here's an idea that I just had, sitting on the couch at 10 a.m. to incorporate in this new video. Then I'll start working at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's hard. There's so much that goes into being creative that I think goes unnoticed. Like, you can't just snap your fingers and be creative.
Yeah.
The environment you're in, how you're feeling, all goes into it. So, like, for me, I have to be in a clean environment. I have to be distraction free. So, like, on my phone, I have an editing thing that literally closes all notifications except for if Lauren were to contact me. But yeah, sometimes I can't even do it in my office. I have to literally be like, I'm going to go to Starbucks because I need a new environment.
They got free Wi-Fi. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, and a lot of like my stuff is like, working ahead of time. Like your guys is pretty much all after, with the exception of shooting. I would assume, at least.
Yeah, we definitely spend more time post production than we do
that's
on the
where
wedding
most
day.
of the work happens, yeah.
But I could sit on the couch and compile music. Oh, okay, I need this song. Okay, I got it. Cool. If I need a cue that's easy to do. During commercials or between playing Hot Wheels with the kids or whatever.
Angry Birds, yeah.
I think that's really where DJs could show a lot of value too, because for photographers, if you're looking at us three vendors, this is just looking at us three, not like, I'm not trying to add in like wedding planners or anything. Whereas photographer and video, they really put a lot of their work into post. But if DJs put a lot of work into the pre-production, then I feel like the couple will have a stronger memory of that vendor as a person. If that makes sense.
Just because you're in communication with them more, and you're kind of you're just building that relationship up to the wedding, like with all the pre stuff you do. I mean, we do pre stuff too, but like you said, most of our stuff
like
comes
Allie,
day of or
Allie and
after.
Adam talk about how you like helped them plan their wedding, and I think that really shows. And they definitely remember you and recommend you, and I think that's where DJs could really shine too. Besides, I mean, obviously you gotta know how to perform during the day, but I think if you really put an effort into helping them make sure everything's smooth before the day, then they'll.
And a lot of that is just to help them out and just to
again also help you out too.
Calm the fears. But that's the other side of it. Is now I know we've touched base about it. We've talked about these things a few different times, so I'm a little bit familiar now. If I get an email from a couple that, I haven't talked to in a while, I have to kind of refresh, okay, let's look back. All right, this is what we've already talked about. Having so many couples you're juggling at one time, you can't remember everybody at just all of the details of every single wedding, but to go back and kind of refresh, okay, good. Now let's move forward. Let's figure out what we got going on.
Yeah.
And just touching base periodically. I like to sit and email my couples every, 2 or 3 months. I'll take a day and sit down and email every couple that I'm working with going forward. Hey, do you have any questions? Is there any concerns? Do you have anything that you need help with? Is planning going okay? Just, hey, I'm still here. I'm still thinking about you. And, here's your chance. If you need help with anything, let me know.
How many weddings did you do this year?
For 21, I ended up with 42,
Holy
I
cow.
want to say. And this year, actually, I just counted up last night. I was just curious to see what I had. And I think I've got 42 or 43 for 22.
Oh, wow.
Plus, so I get started for the year this weekend. I've got a middle school dance, which is kind of a one-off, but it's different and it's fun. It's a different kind of environment, and
I bet
not everything has to be so precise. Which
you don't
is
see like
fun.
Pantless people.
Yeah.
No, because there's laws against that for middle school dances. But it's just a different environment, and it's a lot more like relaxed, is maybe the best way to say it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be quite as fine-tuned as a wedding. There's not as many cues to hit. We kind of go with the flow on
the
it.
8th grade dance probably isn't as important to,
Right.
them as it is a bride.
Right. And so, different proms and stuff, schools I've worked with for a few years now, and nonprofits. I really like being able to help out the nonprofits when I can. No Foot Too Small is one of them that I work with. I've done a few events for them now, and I'm going to continue that relationship with them for 22.
Cool.
Relay for Life out in my hometown. Been helping them out as much as we've been able to here over the last, this will be what, 5th or 6th year.
Awesome.
But it's nice to be able to go back to the hometown and see people that I don't get to see so often, and be able to use my powers for good and not debauchery all the time.
Right.
Help them out with, American Cancer Society.
That's
and,
awesome.
Because it's important causes for people.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
Absolutely.
We can help out. Great. Let's do it and do everything we can. Got a dance marathon coming up
Cool.
that I work with Co-College on.
Sweet.
I've been doing that for a few years now. So
See if they need video.
Yeah. I went to UNI in Cedar Falls. Very involved with the dance marathon, doing video stuff, and yeah. So I don't know why he brought. What'd you say?
To see if they need video.
Oh yeah, because we used to do. I did video, and then we did a dance marathon video together. It was super fun, but you don't actually have to see if they want a video. We're pretty busy.
Yeah.
But no, they're really like good opportunities to put forth some like goodwill, if you will, and be out there and just do something different. Weddings are fun. Don't get me wrong. I love doing weddings. Those are obviously, the things that pay my bills, and, I don't say the most important, but definitely right there at the top. But there's other avenues that can use the services, and, that they need just as much help and publicity and press, if you will, without going to the news or whatever, but give them some help.
That's cool. I like what you said about like just like a whole different environment.
Yeah.
Just sometimes that's helpful. This year I filmed a quinceañera, which is super different from weddings, but it was just weird, like having a whole different like.
They go all out for those.
They do. They're similar in some ways. Like the reception's similar. Like they have DJs, all that stuff. But it was just weird. Like the weekend before I was at a wedding, and then I was at a quinceañera, but.
Pretty sure you got paid about the same amount for both.
I did. I was very like, hey, I'd be giving up a Saturday, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, they're like.
They didn't question it.
No, they're like, here you go.
I've not done when I see pictures of them online, of other DJs working. I'm like, holy cow, like video boards and full out light things. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
Be fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I'm not 100% sure if I'll do another one. But
I've done some like birthday party, like 16-year-old birthday parties or whatever. But yeah, nothing like nothing to that extent. That's crazy.
A 16-year, that'd be like a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party film. That'd be pretty cool.
So that would be cool. Hey, you gonna play skee ball? Nope. You gonna play my song? Throwing the pit balls out there or whatever. So I had so I've known the family for a long time. Actually, the mom was one of my bosses at one of my very first jobs when I was a kid. And so it's funny how like this industry and this job comes full circle in so many different ways. So back when the bride, we did her sweet 16 party. Fast forward, and now did her wedding. It's like, I'm sure I've worked on her prom. I don't know exactly if the timelines match up, but
guessing, yeah.
But yeah, and then do her wedding, and then see all of those people and just kind of hang with that group of kids, if you will, all through different life stages. I think that's really cool to see.
That is awesome.
And then to follow the couples after they get married. Like you guys got married 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, and to be able to kind of follow along with your careers and just things that have happened in your lives up to this point, other couples, kids, and buying homes and the successes and all of that. I just think that's really cool to be able to build not only a business relationship with them, vendor client, but also a friendship as well. Hey, that's cool. Congratulations on your new job.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Whatever.
And they notice that 100% that you're like making an effort outside, like, you're done the night once their wedding is done, you're done too.
Yep.
Well, besides you getting audio and all that stuff. But they notice like when you either keep in touch or even just like quick comment on like a Facebook post or something. That's a big selling point too. Like the after process of keeping those relationships. And I know we've talked a lot on the podcast and stuff about how important that really is. And even how nicely it makes the day go. Like when you know who they are, rather than just kind of some people show up and like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. Are you the bride? But yeah,
it's wild. It's great. It's neat to see that turn of events, and then to go from one wedding to the next wedding, and it's past couples and their friends like, oh, you know these people too? Oh, that's so cool.
Lots of connections there. Yeah.
Well, cool. All right, let's talk about the new thing that you just started to come out with. You call it voice book.
So yeah, this is something new that we're gonna put together, and pretty much all of the parts are there. Just kind of some of the fine tuning stuff that we got going on. So like Ben said, we're calling it voice book, and what it is an interactive guest book. So not only can you have a guest book where guests can just write their names, but the way we're styling it is, thanks to Ashley and Eric for this one, for helping out with it. We're putting an old vintage phone near where the guest book would be. And then the guests, as they come in or throughout the night, mostly throughout the night, because those are the most fun ones to listen to, they pick up the handheld or the receiver on the phone. They speak their message and then they hang up their phone. And so then what we're doing is after the wedding, we're compiling all of those messages for them, and then we'll send them to them after the fact. So not only if you have a regular guest book, can you see signature from grandma or grandpa or whoever, but you can actually hear their voice on your wedding day. And I just think that's kind of a neat take on, especially after those older generations pass,
Right.
Do you want to look at their signature? Well, okay, that's cool. Can you read it for one?
Right.
Because older generations have writing that's pretty much immune. Like kids today, they can't read it. It's just not going to happen. But you can go back and listen to, hey, this is what grandma said.
Yeah, I guarantee you're not going to look at your guest book ever.
Hey, I believe Matt and Maureen have theirs hung up, but I think they did some type of decoration.
Cool,
but that's genius. That is so.
I feel like the only way you maybe would look at a guest book is to see if somebody came that you didn't see or something.
The wife says, hey, Aunt Shirley was there. No, she wasn't. Oh, yeah.
They both.
And here's her voice to prove it.
Yeah. No, that's genius. Because we're in the business of capturing those moments and memories for them too. And there's times where grandma or someone in their family passes away after the wedding. How cool that is to be able to give them something that they can see when, they were around. And I just think that's genius, because them giving a message is just like, very
and there's
personal.
certain moments that we can't capture for video, for voices, because people are just like either far off in the back and specifically I remember at Eric and Ashley's wedding, I might have gotten a few moments of Eric's dad, but not anything like verbal.
Yep.
But they were listening to his message, and I thought that was so sweet. And you could see Eric and Ashley, they were like, this is awesome.
Yep. And especially, God forbid, you have that situation, which, we worked on the wedding together, where something like that happened, where somebody passes shortly thereafter from the wedding, and now you can go back and listen to those things and be kind of in the take you back to that moment again, and to be able to hear that, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's value. If I were having a wedding, you're hired,
you're in. And so the idea here is not only for weddings that I'm the DJ at, but I've got multiple phones basically set up and ready to go. So Reed, if you happen to get married in Omaha, I can send you this phone. Here's the instructions how to set it up. Here's how everything is going to go. Boom, you can have it at your wedding. Send it back.
Oh,
pull the audio, and we'll go ahead and get that sent over to you.
That's genius. That's so smart. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it sound too morbid or not, but like when people are gone, like we can't capture everything.
Yeah.
Our main focus is going to be the couple and the people that are the closest to them. And we'll try to get as many people in as possible, but we can't get everybody. And getting those voice things, that is priceless.
Yeah, that's just, think about it. It's like, why haven't people been doing that before? Like, it's just so smart,
right? Right.
It's like what we were talking about, like with those inventions before. It's like, how do people think of this stuff? Like,
Yeah.
there's so much value to it that that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, every couple watching voice
So-
books.
Yeah. So what's unique about it? So you have multiple. You don't just have one. Like you're not like just bringing it to. You have multiple
Right.
that you can.
Yep. So I think we've got 8 phones set up and ready to go. We got different colors. We got different styles, but they're all what would be considered vintage. I think the oldest one is from the early 50s, which is crazy. Which I tell you, grinding some of that out to modify the phones. 50s cancer like going straight up the nasal cavity, which is fun. Probably should have been wearing a mask, but burning cables, whatever. It's all that good stuff. Nothing's just fun like asbestos. But I think the newest one's from the 80s. So,
Oh wow.
and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to name the phones instead of just going by color. So maybe I'll have a Ben
That's
or a
cool.
Reed or something. That's kind of like
Yeah.
not super important, but
That's cool.
hey, we want to have Reed at our
Yeah.
wedding. Okay,
Yeah,
here
and you could
go.
like build a whole brand around these phones. Yeah, that's genius.
So
This is smart man.
but we've had we've tested them a few different weddings now, like live test them to make sure that they're going to stand up to the unknown, right?
Right.
You never know. We can test that at home. That's fine. But
So you've actually sent some out physically. Like you've mailed some.
I've not mailed them. I've actually taken them to weddings. So that was one of the things with those couples. The last 3 weddings I did for 21. I said, hey, this is what I got going on. I want to test these. I'm going to give this to you. Let me use you as guinea pigs. Let me set these up. We'll send you the audio. I want to see how it goes in real life. And they're like, yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so, yeah.
Here's an idea for if you're end up mailing them out is
bubble wrap.
we put them in bubble wrap, mail out everything that you need. But then you create a video of you just demonstrating how you set it up and start it. But then you put like a QR code that says, here's a QR code to instructional video rather than
What are you doing this afternoon?
Honestly, it would be so easy though to film it. I feel
Really?
like everything that you get nowadays has instructional videos.
Yeah,
Show
exactly.
you how to set stuff up.
Or even just
That's a good
simple
idea.
like a pamphlet that you throw in there. It's just like step by step.
Yep. So I've got that already set up.
Mhm.
I'm tweaking how the phones are set up just a little bit. The premise is the same. It's not really going to change anything, but it's going to look a lot more polished.
Okay.
Which is, I want it to look clean. I want it to look good in
Of
any
course,
setting that it goes into, whether it be a rustic wedding or if it's a really contemporary wedding or anything like that. I want it to fit in. So not only can you choose your color, based on the availability of the phones or the styles or whatever, but I want it to look good in there as well. So it'll come with, if I'm mailing it to you, it'll come with an instruction sheet. I've got a framed thing that says, hey, welcome to so-and-so's wedding for the guests. So they know what it is, how it operates, what they've got to do. Basically, you pick up the phone, leave your message, hang it up. You're good to go. So it's basically, if you can follow simple instructions on putting it together, be very easy for you to incorporate it at your wedding, regardless of where you're at.
That's sweet. That's so cool that they can.
But I think
they'll
we're
be
going to
able-
get some QR codes for that too, and maybe make a YouTube video like, okay, this is how you do it.
Maybe so
it's-
simple
Yeah,
to
it'd
show.
be real.
Brilliant.
So, yeah. Yeah. Good idea. Good idea, Ben.
That's why we keep you around. But
Yeah.
I'm all about making things really easy and
Right.
simple.
but
For
especially
the users. It's like when I send stuff to couples, I try to figure out how to make like the WebFlow thing. I think is genius for people to be able to put their stuff onto their TV to
Oh,
watch, so they don't have to
yeah.
look for a link.
Yeah.
Which I'm still trying. I'm constantly brainstorming, figuring out how would be a good way to deliver audio. But I can't think of anything like WebFlow. Something that I was like, oh, what if they made a private Spotify list? But I don't know how you do something like that.
What do you mean? Like just
So, like, how
audio?
could he deliver the
photographers
audio?
have galleries that you have to
Oh.
log into to get to the gallery.
So you can
Oh,
sync
Same kind
pull
of
up on
idea
your
for
phone.
audio.
Like he
I see
could
what
deliver
you mean.
Dropboxing, but to me, Dropbox is very, I don't know.
I see. Yeah.
Drop-
It doesn't
Dropboxing.
feel very personalized. I feel like if you could figure out a way to make it very personal, so you could just be like, oh, listen to these messages I got. Like you're out at a bar or something. Listen to these messages I got from
Yeah.
my wedding.
Oh shoot. Yeah.
But I can't figure out if you could have somebody develop a thing that. I don't know.
So Mark Cuban, if you're out there,
Yeah,
still
Yeah.
developing apps, I'd be saying between Shark Tank and the Mavs, or
there's
whatever.
gotta be. If anybody's listening and has an idea, just throw it this way.
Yeah.
Right now, he's got these awesome USB things.
Yeah. So I'm looking at doing customized or I don't want to say necessarily customized, but logoed USB sticks for sending them out. Not really sure, 1,000% sure how I'm going to do the delivery. If we're just going to send a file, or if we'll do CDs or the USBs. Maybe we'll do some kind of upcharge. I don't know 100% on that one quite yet.
Right.
But the audio gets put out there for you. You'll get copies of it one way or the other. It might be even a preference thing type of deal.
Gosh, that's awesome.
And with CD or computers not having CD players anymore, that's one of those things that but I'm not that old. How is that happening already? But
I have to figure out how to future proof it.
But definitely, if there's anybody out there that has one of those like photographer gallery things for audio,
yeah,
reach out, because seriously, that would be definitely handy to have that. Then just click on the link and
I wish I knew some like developers or somebody that knew how to do something like that.
Big old business team. Yeah.
There's got to be, there has to be a website out there somewhere that does something like that.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's an original idea too. Like I don't think it's really been thought of. Maybe there's been variations of it out there, of course.
There
but
are other people doing something similar.
Yeah.
It's just kind of tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think
It's definitely new. Yeah. I mean,
it's just not such a big thing where people they don't have a demand for that kind of site until, now as we keep going on in the industry of audio and all that stuff. But yeah,
there's got to be somebody out there doing
something
other than
simple
like
or
SoundCloud. Or,
yeah.
You don't want to upgrade it to that. The last thing you want to do is get your wedding out. Okay, now you have to create an account, and now you have to remember the password.
Yep.
And just let's go straight to, here's your link. Boom, go. Here's your gallery.
yeah.
Your
I
audio
know,
gallery.
like Eric, he has a way you can download an app. So like the couple can have the app on their phone, so they can click the app and it opens their wedding photos.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of cool. But that's also a lot of instruction for downloading an app and stuff.
Mhm.
But
really, other than maybe grandma and grandpa, pretty much everybody's got apps on their phone for everything.
Yeah.
Whether
Right.
that be
Right.
how much advertising stuff can you guys say on here? Can you do brand names? Like Uber Eats. Everybody's got an Uber Eats.
we're not going to get sued.
app,
Yeah.
or who do you want advertising dollars from?
We'll send you an invoice, Uber Eats, for our 27 Spotify listeners.
Or you're up to 27 now. Great.
I think so. I think
It went up.
Yeah, we've got like 27 average or something like that, which is wild. But
or everybody's got Spotify app or whatever. It's all there. It's just a matter of, can you find it in the appropriate store or whatever, and
yeah.
make it go.
I mean, hard copy is always good though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like just having something
Physical.
to hold. Yeah, that's cool. I like your video books that you've been doing. I don't know if you know much about that.
Yeah, I've seen them.
That's so cool that I'm surprised not. I don't know if people just don't know about it or if it's not advertised well. But I mean, trying to figure out that way.
It's hard to advertise on $3, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's out, guys. We're poor. we don't make.
This
any,
is our full-time gig.
Yeah, we only podcast.
We need more money.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So what? All right. So our last question: what inspires us?
Is that the last one?
Is that where we're at? This was a hard one, man.
It's always been.
It's
on the
always
struggle.
hard.
Well, see, we've had a rug. Right?
So yeah, light bulbs.
What was the rug?
Light
Why was I
bulbs.
inspired
shoveling.
by a rug?
I think you got a new rug, and you're like, it really brought the room together. Then you're like, that really feel like.
And the old man shoveling. I remember that one. That one really.
Yeah, his
sticks out.
neighbor shoveling in the back. Like, I gotta get out there shoveling. The invention of the light bulb.
That was a good one. I still think about that one to this day.
Not Avengers, but Justice League, the director's cut of it or whatever. You talked about that. Maybe that wasn't something that inspired you, but you talked about it. Just a bunch of just.
All right. So what inspires us? What's inspired?
What? We should let our guests go first.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just like something. It doesn't have to be something that recently happened either. That's just the spin we've taken. What is something that inspires you? I mean, you have like you said, one of the funnest jobs there is. Like,
yeah. I think it's a combination of two things, and I'm not going to go the crazy route with it.
Mhm.
It's not going to be a rug. Sorry, rug doctor.
rug shovel light bulb thing.
Rugs are us downtown or whatever. I really think that what kind of inspires me and just kind of keeps things going. Number one, my kids.
Mhm.
They've, at least the oldest, has kind of shown an interest in what I do and is
That's cool.
interested in like the whole thing. Funny story about this. So when he was first born, first going to kindergarten, and everybody always asks, what did your mom and dad do? Of course, he gets that question, right? What does he tell his teachers? I'm so surprised I did not get a phone call from school. What does he tell his teachers and the other parents at the school? My dad goes to work. He goes dancing with the ladies. And it's like, kind of, yeah, but not really, no. Goes dancing with the ladies. That was my job. So
That's hilarious.
he has now learned that there's a name for that, and it's not dancing with the ladies. But no, them kind of taking an interest in it and being inquisitive about how some of that stuff works and why I get to do the things I get to do and why I get to hang out at home with them,
Mhm.
when there's no school. The other side of it is all the clients, just, I don't know about you guys, but the high of coming off of a great party and a great celebration, it's like, it's incredible. And it just makes you really want to keep going
Mhm.
and keep putting that out there to keep giving those clients those experiences and those families those experiences and memories for the lifetime that they'll be able to hear and think back. And they have video and photo, look back at those things.
Yeah.
I think that it's like, okay, kind of gives you that rejuvenation a little bit, because weddings, you do so many of them, they all follow the same kind of pattern.
Mhm.
And it's like getting that, it's like, all right, that's the reason that was fun.
Yeah.
Driving home at 2:00 in the morning from
Yeah.
who knows what far flung place. It's like totally worth it.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Gosh, that was such a good answer. I don't think we should. We'll just end it.
Cut.
I don't want to hear about Ben. Ben bought this tablecloth today. I'm sure it was
I did.
That was pretty
inspiring.
nice.
What's
I've
inspiring
got a
about
table
it?
runner that we didn't really use. The match is like perfectly.
That's true. Yeah, the tablecloths just bring the whole table together.
Thank you, Ethan Allen, or whoever. Who makes tablecloth? I don't even know.
I got one. It kind of ties into what I was talking about last week with how like people come up with these problems and then they find a solution to them. So these blinds back here.
They are nice.
So I measured my windows, and then when I went to Lowe's, I like couldn't find. It was either Lowe's or Home Depot, but like all of the things were like my window was like between some of them. Like I couldn't find my sides, and they actually had a machine there. There was like a whole section of all these different variety of blinds that this machine would cut those blinds. And so like I just gave the blinds, and the lady cut them so it would fit perfectly. And I don't know. I think it's inspiring. Like somebody came up with an idea that they're like, what if we just put this machine in here so people could custom cut their blinds?
We should just change this to, and instead of what inspires us, we could do like inventions Ben thinks are cool.
It's
It's
just
like a big paper cut. It is
cool.
intriguing.
No, I get it. I do
To
actually
watch.
genuinely understand where you're coming from, but how ridiculous.
and even like fake plants. Someone said people are so tired of watering them. Why don't we just make fake plants?
There, yeah. I think you're just fascinated by inventions and problem solving.
Yeah, probably.
You're inspired by problem solving. That's what it is.
Hey, whatever.
It's awesome. I get it, but
Those are really nice blinds, though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the cats don't bother them.
That's actually why we got them, because they
Destroyed the other ones.
They'd reach up and like claw these things.
Okay.
And that's the next one we're gonna replace this one, but that's a big window. We gotta figure that out.
Can you imagine the size of cutter they'll need for that one?
yeah,
Exactly.
they're gonna have to bring in a different one.
That machine though is huge there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you got then?
I don't know. I was just stuck on the. That's just fascinating. I feel like it's your brand now. It's part of the CreativeKrunch brand. Is that your thing has to be like not out there, like weirdly, just like a super creative answer somehow. And yeah, I don't. Then we got here. Now we're back to me, and I'm ending it. I can't think of anything. But I mean, I would 100% agree with like the last thing you were saying. Just what kind of keeps it going is like thinking about the fact that as a video, you're giving them something that they're going to cherish forever, and their kids are going to cherish, and just years down the line, it's always going to be something like one of the happiest moments of their life. and being able to create that and like not only give that to them, but express like ourselves creatively in a sense of doing that and like skill and whatever. But I think that's just so cool. And like driving here this morning, I was like, oh man, it's a Monday morning. Like I could be working, the corporate 9 to 5 and like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast right now. Like that is just cool being able to think of that stuff and what we get to do and who we get to meet, this is for our first time meeting and it's been awesome. So, I mean, yeah, that stuff's inspiring, I guess.
Well, yeah. It is one of the cool things about this industry, and look at this coolest job anybody could have is the people you get to meet and the things you get to see. It's just like, what turn in life did I make where I get to do this?
Yeah,
I get to like people know this person,
right?
Like they could walk down the street and people know that person.
Exactly.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
And I get to hang out with them for a few hours out of their life. And
yeah, you really make new friends every week.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, I think that really hit home with me is like the people you meet. Cause I was just starting out and then at the end of 2019, I was the best man in a wedding and Ben was filming it. And that's how we met. And not saying that Ben's my best friend. I don't really like him that much, but
hey, there for a while, I wasn't even sure you really truly existed. Yeah. Let's face it, I've never seen the two of you in the same room before.
That's true. No, but all jokes aside, like, just from a wedding and you were filming it, like I met one of my best friends and now we're in business together. I have podcasts, all this stuff. It's just like, yeah, the people you meet, they like, most of them stick around. Mm-hmm. Maybe not to the extent of like our relationship, but did you guys know each other before
not before
DJ'd?
my wedding?
No, his wedding was how we met.
There's another example right there. It's like, that's just so cool. Like, it's just awesome. But yeah, well, I mean, do you have any
anything else
usually at this point we just banter forever until
we assume people have already stopped listening at this point.
Yeah. After the first ad break.
Yeah. After the first of 3 at this point.
No, I appreciate you guys asking me to come on, and it's been fun and get to hang out with you guys and finally get to meet you in person, which is cool.
Yeah. So I'm real.
He is, folks. He's real. He's real here in the flesh.
Yeah.
It's real, and they are in the same room.
Not just an imaginary friend of Ben.
I was kind of wondering, like, at what extent is he going to go through? Like, he created a whole website for you, and, like, a whole Facebook page, and the whole thing.
I'm outsourcing videos. Like, I'm like, can you go?
Like, Ben, come on, let's give it up, man.
All right, yeah,
this is going a little far.
Gigs up.
Realistically, that whole side of the table is not real.
Yeah, so. I'm just a very well animated CGI that you somehow figured out.
I told Max, make sure every once in a while you look that way.
Yeah.
Hey, they're both video guys. I mean, they can do this stuff. They know the people.
I'm trying to imagine Ben doing some type of animated CGI or just trying to do a CGI of this. And
see, right here, when you guys view this, there's going to be a dinosaur that goes over there and crunches off Reed's head.
Like, what would like
Jurassic Park.
What would the attempt of you trying to make me look like? Is like what I'm really curious of.
We're doing stick figures?
Yeah, just like
be a stick figure or something. All right, well, cool.
Yeah, well, I guess, thanks for listening, watching.
Let's end it by blowing a kiss to the camera. Ready? And go. All right, there we go.
We love you guys.
Well, cool.